Right now at 6, an organization in Carthage wants to make sure families have the diapers they need.
And we've got a few scattered showers and storms out there, some cloud cover as well. We'll take a look at that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, the city of Miami receives more than $6 million to address flooding concerns throughout the city.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Tuesday. Of course, we're live here on KOAM, streaming on KOAM Plus. That way you can take us wherever you go. Just don't take us while you're driving, unless you're the passenger. That's different. Yes. If you're in the back seat, even better.
Or you have Bluetooth hookup on your car, and if you just want to listen to.
I suppose that's true too. You could do that, but you don't want to be too distracted while you drive. We don't want to have to then report on, an accident later because you were watching us. Just watch us at home. It's safer.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're going to definitely want to pay attention because we've got thunderstorm chances.
Yes, we do.
Excuse me, and I'm losing my voice. We also have dangerous heat once again across the area, but let's start with what we're seeing right now. Take a look at this. Just in the last 15 minutes, look at all these little guys out there. We've got a number of little pop-up showers and some thunderstorms developing out ahead of this complex in parts of southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma. There's a few more of them than there were earlier. So we have this complex of storms. Nothing strong, nothing severe at this point, but definitely bringing some much needed rain. And then take a look over by Chanute, getting a couple of lightning strikes out there. So we got a little thunderstorm developing here. We've got one, Trevor, our photographer, is in Fort Scott. So we just want to tell them, keep an eye on the sky. It's not severe, but you don't want to be out there with all that camera equipment in the rain or with lightning around. So Trevor, just keep an eye to the sky. If you see some lightning, get to see some rain, maybe pack up, move into your car for a few minutes. And we've got a few of these scattered showers stretching back into northeastern Oklahoma, and still this one shower in the far southeastern corner of Jasper County. Now, all of this activity, take a look at how this kind of blossoms up out here very quickly in the last 15 minutes or so. All of it slowly drifting to the east, and the good news is, at least for us, the only severe weather well to our north. However, some of us still have to deal with dangerous heat. We have heat advisories across a good portion of the area. All of these run through 8 this evening, and in these areas we could still see heat index values up to 110 degrees. Not saying you'll necessarily reach that point, but it's going to still be pretty hot and muggy out there. As we end the afternoon, we're still looking at isolated to widely scattered showers and storms. That's why we have the heat advisories. We're still going to be able to get hot enough that it's going to be uncomfortable out there. And some of these could be strong to low-grade severe, so we'll want to keep an eye on that for you. Some small hail, gusty winds is the primary concern. Very warm out there this morning. Most of us into the low to mid-80s, and we do have some upper 70s across the area. Most of us, again, also looking at highs averaging about the mid to upper 90s with those scattered shower and thunderstorm chances as we head through the day. We'll have another look at your forecast, talk about these storms and some cooler weather on the way here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. The Federal Emergency Management Agency is helping address flooding issues in Miami with a new grant. The $6.3 million grant is the largest grant the city has ever received. The city will use the money for hazard mitigation projects in 5 different flood-prone areas. Their aim is to prevent future road closures due to roadway flooding, and the selected areas are direct routes in and out of the city. An announcement ceremony was held on one of the most affected bridges in the city, where local and state officials celebrated the steps towards improvement.
This is the largest one we've ever gotten. I mean, it just thanks, and we're not stopping here, I mean, we have over $10 million in grants for the last 2 years, which is huge for a city of Miami size. I mean, and we're not stopping. So, I mean, it's just, and we want to help the citizens, we want to help Miami grow, so.
The project is expected to take 3 years to complete from design to finish. And the prospect of addressing flooding issues throughout Miami makes residents hopeful. KOAM Samantha Walker spoke with residents about how the flooding has impacted their lives for decades.
My grandmother is one of those that has lived in a house that's flooded multiple times, and I actually currently live in a house that's on the 500-year floodplain right off of this road.
For Miami residents like Caitlin Baker, flooding is something she not only expects, but she fears every time it rains.
I'm always worried about getting stuck in my house because of the flooding. I never know what's going to happen. Same with my grandmother. Whenever her house floods or even whenever it rains a lot, I mean literally PTSD. It is so overwhelming because you just don't know how much it's going to flood this time, right?
The flooding issues span across Miami, with streets and even homes and businesses known to frequently fill with water.
Every time it floods in our area, we become an island because these roads go underwater, and it's a state agency that's flooding us, and they kind of hold us hostage.
The city is engaged in a lengthy battle with the Grand River Dam Authority, who Mayor Bless Parker says is responsible for many of Miami's flooding issues. A logjam in April that caused flooding sparked more outcries about the impact on the city. Officials hope that the grant for road improvements in flood-prone areas is a step in the right direction.
This is us kind of breaking free of those shackles with this grant, allowing us to open up our roads and make things be able to flow around our community.
Now this is the bridge on Veterans Boulevard in Miami. It's one of the key places to flood, and it's being addressed in the grant. Now Miami city officials say when roadways like this do flood, it makes it difficult for the city to function.
I mean, getting stuck to where I can't go from one side of town to the other unless I go way outside of my normal. And I mean, that costs, more gas, you're using your car more. And with how everything is right now, I mean, that's really hard on someone's paycheck.
A lot of people say, hey, you're the town that floods. I can't bring my business there because I won't be able to get traffic through town when it floods. So this will be that stopgap that won't hold us prisoner anymore.
For residents like Baker, she's excited for what the future might hold.
It literally changes people's lives, and so I'm hoping this will change for the better, and that we can trust in our leadership in Miami that they're going to take care of us and they're going to push for us.
Reporting in Miami, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
City officials say they're continuing to look for ways to address flooding issues as they continue their legal battle with the GRDA. Happy Bottoms Diaper Charity helps Southwest Missouri families who struggle to afford diapers. The Kansas City organization recently partnered with McCune Brooks to establish a service in Carthage. The director of the program says that half of all families lack the amount of diapers they need for their child. As demand increases, the charity says they can't help others without support and donations from the community.
It's very important for us to get diapers into the hands of families. Not only is it a health issue of making sure families are changing diapers more often, it also becomes an economic issue.
To volunteer or donate, you can find more information on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. President Biden is working to set a federal cap on rent prices. Plus, former President Donald Trump officially receives the Republican nomination for president. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Tuesday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. The time is currently 6:08. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from the Bourbon County Fairgrounds. Topping Nation Watch this morning, President Biden is working to set a federal cap on rent prices. He'll unveil details Tuesday in Nevada, a state that's seen one of the biggest increases in housing costs nationwide. Biden's plan would eliminate a tax benefit for landlords who increase their tenants' rent more than 5% a year. It would only impact landlords who own more than 50 units, which represents about half of all rental properties. It would not apply to units that haven't been built yet, and Biden's plan would need to be approved by Congress before going into effect. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials say June saw a sharp decline in migrant encounters on the border. Statistics show they were 29% lower than May. The numbers were also the lowest monthly total since January 2021. Officials attribute the decline to President Biden's proclamation on June 4th to temporarily suspend the entry of certain non-citizens across the southern border. Border Patrol says the 7-day average is down to less than 1,900 migrant encounters per day. And that since the presidential proclamation, more than 70,000 individuals have been returned to more than 170 countries. Yesterday, former President Donald Trump officially received the Republican nomination for president. It was an emotional scene later in the night as Trump made a surprise appearance at the conference just 48 hours after a gunman opened fire at one of his rallies in an assassination attempt. Monday, Trump finally revealed his 2024 VP pick, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Sabrina Franza has more from the convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Former President Donald Trump arrived to cheers on night one of the Republican National Convention. Trump's ear was covered by a bandage in his first public appearance since surviving Saturday's assassination attempt. The former president stood next to his running mate, 39-year-old Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, who Trump announced earlier in the day on social media.
I think he's an excellent choice.
Vance, an Iraq War veteran and Yale Law School graduate, first rose to public prominence due to his best-selling memoir turned Hollywood film, Hillbilly Elegy. He once described himself as a, quote, never Trump guy, but says Trump's presidency changed his mind. President Joe Biden also reacted to the VP pick yesterday.
He's a clone of Trump on the issues. I don't see any difference.
Vance is set to formally accept the Republican vice presidential nomination in a speech Wednesday night.
We hereby nominate every single one of them for the greatest president that's ever lived, and that's Donald J. Trump.
Yesterday, the party officially nominated Trump for president in a roll call of state delegates. The theme focused on the economy, with speeches from governors, members of Congress, and the head of the Teamsters Union.
We will create an agenda and work with a bipartisan coalition ready to accomplish something real for the American worker.
Today's theme is Make America Safe Again. Trump's former 2024 primary rival, Nikki Haley, is scheduled to speak. Sabrina Franza, CBS News, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
That's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got some scattered thunderstorms developing out on the Skywatch storm tracker across southeastern Kansas, getting some lightning now north of Chanute near Fort Scott as well. We also have some thunderstorms rolling into our far western counties. Nothing strong or severe, but we are seeing rain coverage increase across the area. We're going to break down the details on these rain chances and some cooler weather on the way here in just a few more minutes.
A group of entrepreneurs in Baltimore are teaming up to give chefs a second chance. They're launching a series of pop-up shops for those who need somewhere to start over. It's called the Displaced Chefs Project, and Janae Reese explains how this effort is meant to help chefs have a place to bring their culinary work back to life.
Hello, be right with you. How you doing?
Food is an unspoken love language.
Words Naila Queen and Natasha Brown Wainwright live by.
If you are a chef that looking for a place to pop up, we are here for you.
They're working to put more cooks in the kitchen through the Displaced Chefs Project.
That's what they're getting, a platform to be able to showcase their talents.
The project's goal, to give displaced chefs a place to be a chef.
Small and large restaurants closed because of the pandemic, and a lot of those restaurants haven't been able to recover.
But this is a second chance.
Whether they want to start another restaurant in the future or just show people that they're still here.
Like that.
Naila and Natasha are a part of the Culinary Queens Collective, a group of 5 ladies in the culinary and lifestyle industries working to help chefs rebuild.
It's hard to feel like you're building something when you feel alone. So when they come on board, they know that they have us as sisters that's going to support them.
If selected to be a part of the project, 5 chefs will get a chance to host a series of pop-up shops at the end of every month inside Be More Made with Pride.
I want to make the cafe their restaurant. I want to make my kitchen their kitchen so that they can do what they love to do.
We're going to be there cheering them on the whole time. And what they gain is the confidence of knowing that, hey, I can do this.
Certainly great to see the community of chefs coming together. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, again, we've got some scattered storms developing out there. We still have our KOAM 2024 downtown Joplin. We're having another look at your forecast, break down these storm chances when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News 621 on this Tuesday morning. We're starting with, of course, the Skywatch Storm Trackers. We're starting to see a few more showers and thunderstorms developing ahead of this complex, which is rolling slowly into our western counties. So we've got this into Greenwood, Elk, and Chautauqua counties with some lightning up here. Now, remember, these storms aren't strong or severe at this point, but lightning is still dangerous regardless of if the storm is strong or severe. And it's again slowly moving off to the east. Then we've got new development that's been taking place ahead of it. Some organized thunderstorm activity rolling into Fort Scott and on the northeastern sides of Chanute out there as well. Not a lot of lightning with this activity, but nonetheless, we do have that going on. And then as we get a little further south, we're seeing more showers, heavier showers beginning to develop right along the Kansas-Oklahoma border. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some thunderstorm activity begin to brew from all of that. And again, it's slowly trying to push off to the east, but look at how quickly all this activity has flared up here in the last, say, half hour, 45 minutes at most. So we're getting the scattered showers, we're getting the scattered storms, and we still do have that possibility of some strong to low-grade severe storms as we head through the day. So again, nothing strong or severe this morning, not at this point, but we'll watch everything closely. If we do see any stronger storms, we're talking the possibility for some hail, maybe some damaging wind gusts as we head into the afternoon and overnight hours as well. We're going to have a couple of rounds of showers and storms. We got this first round this morning into the afternoon. Again, it's going to be isolated to widely scattered out there, so maybe not everybody will see rain, and because of that, we're still going to get fairly hot out there as well. We then go into the evening, and this first round begins to wrap up by late evening, and it is a brief pause before we see new developments start to take place along and south of the Highway 54 corridor. And some of these storms overnight tonight could be strong to low-grade severe as well, and they'll continue into our morning commute on Wednesday, and then we'll start to clear out, and we could see a few isolated storms into the early afternoon, and then after that, we'll clear out. We'll have a northerly breeze, and it's going to be a bit cooler across the area. We do have heat advisories still in place out there for a good portion of the area through 8 this evening. There's some discussion that with some of the more organized showers, possibly through the late morning and early afternoon in the north, may be a little cooler up here. But at least for now, the heat advisories stand, and if you're in one of them, you could still see heat index values up to 110 degrees. Maybe not reaching exactly that point, but getting pretty close out there. 7th and Range Line, you can see those clouds out there in Joplin. 81, feels like 85. South-southwest breeze at 14, and we've already been seeing those gusts upwards of 20, 25 miles an hour, and that'll be the case again today as it was yesterday. Temperatures, we've got some upper 70s, and we got low to mid 80s across the area as well, so a very warm start to the day. And once you factor in the dew point and humidity, take a look at these heat index values. Almost feels like 90 Columbus, Miami out there. We've got low, mid, and upper 80-degree heat index value. So a very toasty, uncomfortable start to the day. That's the fuel for these storms, and now we're getting that spark in here. So I've isolated to scattered storms as we head through the morning hours across the area and be about 90 by 11. Then we'll continue with isolated to scattered thunderstorm chances heading through the afternoon. And we're looking at highs on the average mid-upper 90s, though some of you may be a little cooler than that. Not that you're going to complain by any means, but you may be a little cooler. When we go through the evening, we'll see a little more widespread shower and thunderstorm activity. And again, as we showed you on the future track, especially after 11 o'clock tonight, take a look at that low, considerably better too, down to about 70. Temperatures are actually going to be below average the next few days, which is going to be nice. We're going to dry out a bit and cool down a bit as we go low mid 80s. We start warming up into the weekend, the near average temperatures. We go back to the low 90s. Then we're back to the upper 80s next week with some additional scattered shower and thunderstorm chances. That is a check of your forecast. Now we're going to toss it over to Elise with Health Watch.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, a new study shows healthcare affordability in the U.S. may be headed in the wrong direction. The West Health Gallup Healthcare Affordability Index finds only about 55% of Americans can afford and access prescription drugs and quality health care. That's down 6% since 2022. The downturn largely affects two age groups, those between 50 to 64 and seniors over the age of 65. And ultra-processed foods made up almost 2/3 of the calorie intake of young people in the UK between 2008 to about 2019. That's according to new research published in the European Journal of Nutrition. Consumption of ultra-processed foods, which contain high amounts of sugar and salt, was highest among those from lower income backgrounds, those of white ethnicity, and younger adolescents. And a new study published in the journal BMJ Public Health is highlighting the benefits of biking or walking to work. Researchers found active commuting is associated with lower risk of death and mental and physical ill health compared with inactive commuting. The greatest benefits were seen in cyclists, who had about a 47% lower risk of death from any cause. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, the Miami City Council discusses the fate of miles of historic Ribbon Road.
And we've got scattered showers and thunderstorms, clouds increasing in Joplin with a new shower developing southwest side of the city. We're going to take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, the MSSU Board of Governors discusses penalties for students who fall behind on payments.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News at 6:29. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's Tuesday. It is still July. It is the 16th day of the month. And now we are halfway through July.
It's just flying
this
by.
Whole year, it started a little slow and then it just picked up pace in a rapid fashion. So hopefully we should probably start making plans for winter now, because it's probably going to end up sneaking up on us.
I know. No Christmas in July, though.
No, none of that. But we are getting additional thunderstorms out there this morning, seeing a few more of those developing. Want to show you this first. This is actually from our photographer Trevor Lewis up in Fort Scott. He's there for the Bourbon County Fair, and this is live right now. Pretty copious amounts of rain falling up there. So we're getting some heavy rain into the Fort Scott area this morning with a thunderstorm that's developed, and we can show you that thunderstorm here on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. There it is. Getting some lightning out of this as well. Not strong, not severe. None of this is at this point, but we are beginning to see additional developments. We've got these showers in our western counties. Greenwood, Elk, and Chautauqua counties got some lightning with that. And remember, even though the storms aren't severe, the lightning can still be dangerous and deadly. Then as we head a little further east, take a look at all this that's developed. And we have this new shower developing southwest of Joplin. We got the thunderstorm activity into Fort Scott. Now, it was one little cell, but it's kind of joined in with this activity that developed back towards Chanute. And then we have a number of showers developing right along the Kansas-Oklahoma border out there. And take a look at the loop at how quickly these guys get going. I mean, within the last half hour, we see these storms really get together, and these ones again here joining up across the area. So we're getting some much needed rainfall out there, but we do have that chance. Some of these later today could be strong, low grade severe with some hail and damaging winds. So we're going to keep an eye on them. We'll keep an eye on the morning storms as well in case they decide to get a little unruly. But so far, they're staying in line, but bringing some heavy amounts of rain. We have heat advisories across a good portion of the area through 8 this evening, so you could see heat index values up to 110 degrees in those heat advisory areas. While the isolated to widely scattered showers and storms like what we're seeing this morning continue through the morning into the afternoon and into the early evening hours. And again, some of these could be strong, low-grade severe, so we'll keep a close eye on them for you. And then we'll see more organized thunderstorm chances overnight tonight. Temperatures this morning, very warm. Look at this. We've been in upper 70s for some of us. Most of us have been hanging out in the low to mid 80s across the area. On the average, we're looking at highs today, mid upper 90s, and we'll have these isolated to scattered shower and thunderstorm chances through the day. And then those chances again will increase overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. And a reminder, heat index values could reach as high as 110 for those of you in heat advisory areas. We're going to have more details on these thunderstorms and the cool down that's going to take place after the storms here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
Thanks, Chris. A Neosho, Missouri woman received state recognition for her volunteer efforts helping those in need. Susan Carlston volunteers with Freeman Neosho Meals on Wheels, her church, and the Neosho Fish Hatchery. Yesterday, the Missouri Community Service Commission recognized Carlston with its Senior Service Award for her efforts.
When I first heard about it, I was just really surprised because I don't feel like I really do any more than anybody else.
Carlston says she was first inspired to help others after her injured mother received help by a volunteer following the Joplin tornado. The Missouri Southern Board of Governors yesterday held a special meeting to discuss penalties for students who fall behind on payments. The board decided to add a $100 late fee to a student's outstanding balance if payments are behind schedule. Before now, the school withheld transcripts for students with an outstanding balance, but a new federal law changed that.
This is happening specifically because the new federal regulation that we can no longer withhold transcripts for any student who receives Title IV aid.
Officials hope this fee encourages students to stay on top of payments. The city of Miami yesterday also decided not to go through with plans to replace 3 miles of historical Ribbon Road. The county advanced a plan aiming to mill and repave the original road, which is part of Route 66. Those arguing against the proposal say it would destroy history.
We passed a resolution to help save the Ribbon Road. It's a huge tourism draw for Miami, and it's very important to our economy, our sales tax revenue, and cities in Oklahoma anyway are sales tax driven. So we need those folks coming to our community. We need them to stop them. We need them to spend their dollars here, and the Ribbon Road is one of those ways that they come and they stop.
The council also voted to establish a Main Street Board with the goal of expanding access to property and events downtown. The Parsons Police Department hosted a cool event at the Parsons Public Pool. Kids of all ages turned out for the Popsicles with Police event yesterday. In addition to getting some cool, tasty treats, kids got to interact with local police officers.
And any time more than now, it's extremely important for a police department to show people that we are here for you and that we're here to work for you. Times are different, and the police now, we're here to show people, that we're not always here just to, pull you over, give you tickets, or arrest you. It's different.
The Labette Center for Mental Health also got in on the fun, and thanks to a generous donation from the center, the first 50 kids swam at the city pool for free. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Amazon's annual 2-day Prime Day sale kicks off today with the deals on thousands of products. And we have a hot and cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 6:35. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from the Bourbon County Fairgrounds. In Consumer Watch this morning, travel forecasts predict this will be one of the busiest summers for driving on record. If you're looking for ideas, most states offer drink and food trails, some of them more unusual than others. Wendy Gillette explores a few of them in today's Travel Tuesday.
You're probably familiar with the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, where you can dip your own bottle in red wax at Maker's Mark Distillery outside Louisville. And at Heaven Hill Distillery, see some of its more than 2 million aging barrels, taste samples, and bottle your own bourbon. A personalized tour with the guide company Matson & Gilman often includes a Bourbon 101 class.
All of our palates are like snowflakes, so maybe understand what things you do and don't like.
A lesser-known Kentucky Trail centers around beer cheese, a spread invented in the 40s, right next to Halls on the River. The restaurant in Winchester near Lexington serves all manner of beer cheeses.
It's a spicy food. It was originally invented to help customers drink beer. Some of God's greatest inventions, if you think about it, beer and cheese.
One trail stop, Full Circle Market, sells freshly made dip. Unusual food trails span the U.S., from the pepperoni roll in West Virginia and pimento cheese in South Carolina to fermented food in Pennsylvania, donuts in Ohio, and tacos in California.
Another food journey here in North Carolina caters to oyster lovers. The Oyster Trail features some of the more than 300 oyster and clam farms along the state's coast.
Benny the Chihuahua is your ambassador on tours of Cape Hatteras Oyster Company in the Outer Banks, standing guard while owner Ryan Belter retrieves oysters ready for sale.
He does eat oysters also. He'll eat them raw.
Visits include sampling a few freshly shucked oysters. And a ride along with Sticky Bottom Oyster Company gives a glimpse of what it takes to farm them.
It is a full-time job, 7 days a week. There's always something broke. There's always oysters to baby, take care of.
They start this small, slowly growing in what's called an upweller before they're transferred into Pamlico Sound.
An oyster connoisseur can tell the difference between an oyster here and 6 miles down there.
Also on the trail, oyster shooters at Blue Water Grill, jewelry inspired by oyster shells at Empty Nest Studio, and very live seafood, including local oysters for sale at Whalebone Market.
Look at my office.
It's another look at life away from the usual shore stops. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Buxton, North Carolina.
Amazon's annual 2-day Prime Day sale kicks off today with deals on electronics, home goods, and thousands of other products. Data firm Adobe Analytics predicts shoppers will likely spend a record $14 billion this year during Amazon's 10th Prime Day event. In recent years, other major retailers like Best Buy, Walmart, and Target have also offered Black Friday-like sales events in July to compete with Amazon. Several major record labels have brought a $2.6 billion lawsuit against Verizon, accusing the wireless company of failing to stop users who repeatedly downloaded pirated content illegally. The case was filed in New York District Court last week by Universal, Sony, Warner, and others who say the illegal downloads violated their copyrights. And Krispy Kreme is getting ready for the Summer Olympics in Paris later this month with 3 new donuts that honor iconic French desserts. The Passport to Paris collection features new creme brulee, double chocolate eclair, and raspberry and vanilla crema donuts flavors. Customers can wash those down with a limited time creme brulee latte served hot or cold. And that's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're going to start with a look outside from our camera on top of the Cornell complex, downtown Joplin. It's also B-Cam because this wasp here is very active in the morning hours, and then she kind of eases up once we heat up in the afternoon. You can see the clouds out there in Joplin, and we pointed our camera at 7th and Range Line back a little to the southwest. There's a rain shaft there. That's associated with a rain shower. It's developed on the southwest side of the city. MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line still dry in the city, but rain is on the way. So we're going to start with this. Look at that Skywatch Storm Tracker. We are seeing more thunderstorms. We've got a fair amount of lightning now around the Fort Scott storm. And then we've got additional showers and storms developing down to the south of that. And we still have that complex that's barely moving into our western counties. So this storm joined up with another one near Chanute. So it's become one little long storm. And we'll do a really quick look at that lightning count up there because that's really gone up. It's not a ton of lightning by any means, but for that little cell, that's a fair amount. So just in this zone here, that's 12 lightning strikes. And remember, even though the storms aren't strong or severe, the lightning is still dangerous and deadly, so you still need to be taking it safe. And then we've just got additional showers and thunderstorms across the area. So you can see this complex here really just slowing down. But look at all of the development that's rapidly taking place out ahead of this. I mean, look how quick some of this is firing up. So more rain on the way, getting ready to go into Nevada. Pittsburgh, it's on your southeast side. Lamar, you're up. Joplin, you're up. Miami, you're up next also for some additional showers and storms. And a reminder, we have heat advisories across the area through 8 o'clock this evening. And in these zones, you could see heat index values reach up to 110 degrees. So we still have dangerous heat despite some of that rain shower activity out there. We're going to take a full look at your forecast, break down these thunderstorm chances and some below average temperatures that are on the way here in just a moment. We're also going to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. But first, let's see what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Tony DeCopel. Coming up on CBS Morning's complete coverage of former President Donald Trump at the Republican convention here in Milwaukee, where he will be officially nominated by his party as their presidential nominee. Plus, the latest reaction to the attempt on his life, all of it coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, time for some Tuesday birthdays, and we're going to start in Chanute with Allison Splector celebrating birthday number 14. Happy birthday, Allison.
Also turning 14 today, a happy birthday to Cash Williams over in Sarcoxie.
And in Walnut, Ben Guy celebrating birthday number 23, says he's currently stationed on the USS Theodore Roosevelt. So thank you for your service and a very happy birthday to you.
And happy 27th birthday to Kate Schomber, who also shares a birthday with Glenn Schomber, turning 92 today from Mound Valley. It's a shares birthday with his grandson, Kate. So happy birthday to the both of you.
Yes, absolutely. And we also have Ryan Loffmiller in Pittsburgh, who's celebrating birthday number 48 today. And we want to send a very happy birthday to Ryan in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. And also in Pittsburgh, a happy 61st birthday to Tina Omi.
And Scott Williams celebrating birthday number 63. Happy birthday, Scott.
Over in Parsons, a happy 72nd birthday to Judy Collins.
And Jim Godinez in Chanute celebrating birthday number 74. Happy birthday, Jim.
Happy birthday to John George, turning 88 today over in Walnut. It says love from your 4 kids and spouses, 12 grandkids, 18 great-grandkids, and his wife of 68 years.
Talk about some major achievements there, Don. Happy birthday. In St. Paul, Decker Vitt celebrating another year wiser. Happy birthday.
And happy 24th anniversary to Michael and Missy Sisney over in Girard. It says love Evan, Aiden, Marley, and Clint, and the rest of the family.
And we've got Frank celebrating another year wiser over at the Carrington Place Senior Living. Happy birthday, Frank. And of course, if you'd like to celebrate with us, I have some good news. Elise knows what to do.
Yes, go ahead and submit your birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays@KOAMnewsnow.com. Be sure to include any photos or birthday messages if you would like, and to include the day of your celebration when you are submitting.
Absolutely. That's again to make sure that it airs on the right time, or at the right time, right day. All right, we're going to start with some looks outside. First, that shower making its way into Joplin. Our camera down on the Cornell Complex downtown got some fairly decent rainfall from this storm as it's starting to roll into the city. Then as we head over to the east side of town, it's still dry for now, but there's that rain shaft that's continuing to roll into the city, and it'll eventually make its way east. And it's somewhat dark down on the south side of the city, but also at this point still dry, it looks like, from the MoDOT camera at 32nd and Rangeline. But again, that will begin to end as the rain continues to push off to the east. And we are dry in Neosho, MoDOT camera down there. In fact, even getting a little bit of sunlight through the clouds, but more rain showers are on the way. And here's the Skywatch Storm Tracker to tell us all about the showers and storms. So let's start up here around the Fort Scott area. We have this cell that joined with another one that was over by Chanute. So near Elsmore, we've got some shower and thunderstorm activity. And again, stretching back up to Fort Scott, just north of Pawnee, getting some showers as well. And now entering the far western portions of Vernon County along 54. Then we'll head down south. So we've got some heavier rain. Now we're starting to get some thunderstorm activity. So that lightning, of course, now officially signifies thunderstorm activity versus heavy rain on the southeast side of Pittsburgh. Columbus, you've got a shower near you. Oswego, you've got some rain getting ready to move in. Miami, you're up next. Joplin, we've got this heavier shower that's rolling into the city right now. And then that means that Lamar, Jasper, Carthage will eventually be getting in on some of this action as well. So Nevada, you are sandwiched in between a couple of rounds of storms. El Dorado Springs getting in on the activity. And again, like I mentioned, Lamar, it is right on your back door, probably getting ready to roll into the Lamar Heights area as we speak. So we've got the showers, and look at how quickly this activity flared up out ahead of that batch in our far western counties, which is really not moving much. No strong storms, no severe storms this morning at this point, but as you can see, we're starting to see lightning pick up out there. So even though the storms aren't strong or severe, lightning is still dangerous, lightning is still deadly. You need to be taking precautions as you're heading out for work or whatever it is you may be doing this morning. The only severe weather at this point is off to our north, where they've had a really nasty cell racing along Interstate 70 toward Kansas City, and new severe thunderstorm warnings up around the St. Joseph area. Look at all the lightning with that. We counted earlier 800 lightning strikes with that cell, and earlier it was also producing upwards of 80-mile-an-hour winds. Now, thankfully, we're not looking at anything like that for us, but we do have that risk for some strong to low-grade severe thunderstorms, with hail and wind being the primary concern as we head through today. Now, initially, through the main portion of the day, most of this is going to be isolated to widely scattered, kind of like it is right now. But the storms that we do see, some of those, again, could be strong, low-grade severe as we head through the afternoon and into the evening hours. This first batch will begin to kind of wrap up, and there will be a very brief pause in activity before we see additional thunderstorm development, really right along and south of the Highway 54 corridor. And these storms also could be strong to low-grade severe as we go into the overnight hours and into early Wednesday morning across the area. And these will continue into our morning commute. We could see a few isolated scattered storms through the morning, early afternoon, and then as we go later into Wednesday, the rest of this activity will begin to clear out, and that'll also put our temperatures below average with a northeasterly wind out there. So it's going to feel a lot better as we head into the next couple of days. Still got to deal with some of that dangerous heat today, unfortunately. We do have heat advisories out there still through 8 o'clock this evening across most of the area, and you could see heat index values in these zones up to 110 degrees once again. Just remember, relief is on the way. Well, from there, look at your forecast news you need to know here in just a moment. And when we switch over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., we're going to see how one Englishman is bringing a smile to people by using a hedge trimmer.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The city of Miami, Oklahoma has been approved for a grant from FEMA. The $6.3 million grant will be used for hazard mitigation projects in 5 flood-prone areas. They aim to prevent future road closures due to flooding. The project is expected to take 3 years to complete from design to finish. Missouri's Southern Board of Governors held a special meeting to discuss penalties for students who fall behind on payments. The board decided to add a $100 late fee to a student's outstanding balance if payments are behind schedule. Officials hope this fee encourages students to stay on top of payments. And the city of Miami has decided not to go through with plans to replace 3 miles of historical Ribbon Road. The county advanced the plan aiming to mill and repave the original road, which is part of Route 66. Those arguing against the proposal say it would destroy history. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And we've got, again, the heat advisories out there. Heat index values up to 110. Temperatures mid-upper 90s for most of us, and then isolated to widely scattered showers and thunderstorms, some of which could be strong, low-grade severe, small hail, gusty winds. That will continue through the evening. We'll see more widespread storms overnight tonight, falling back to about 70. And check out these temperatures going below average. Scattered storms the first half of our Wednesday. Low to mid-80s. Will warm up by the start of next week, just in time for some additional rain chances, but we're finally going to get a little relief from the heat.
Certainly sounds nice. Thanks, Chris. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making taco casserole in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, we'll learn some tips and tricks on how you can stay safe during this summer heat.
Plus, Charlene Patton back in the studio with teaching us how to make chili crisp tofu. However, that's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll, of course, keep an eye on these storms through the morning, and we'll see you back here tomorrow at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.